Tonight, when the sun goes down, you are going to do something your ancestors never could. You are going to flip a switch. Light will flood the room instantly, completely, on demand. You will not think about it for even a second. You will scroll, watch, read, eat, talk, and eventually drift towards sleep somewhere around midnight, maybe later. But for 99.9% of human history, that switch did not exist. When the sun set, the world went dark. Not dim, not shadowy, dark. The kind of dark where you cannot see your hand in front of your face. And in that darkness, your ancestors did something that researchers are only now beginning to understand. Something so strange, so specifically human, that when anthropologists first documented it, they did not know what to call it. They called it firelight time, and it may be one of the most important things humans ever did. To understand why, you have to go back to the beginning, roughly 1 million years ago when your ancestors first began controlling fire. Fire changed everything. Anthropologist Polly Wiessner spent years studying the Jew-Hansi Bushmen of the Kalahari Desert. She found that during the day, conversations were practical, logistics of survival. But at night, around the fire, everything changed. Nighttime conversations shifted almost entirely to something different. Stories. Stories about the distant past, stories about spirits, ancestors, and imagined futures. Firelight talk was almost 80% narrative. Wiessner concluded that firelight created a protected space where the human mind could imagine. This may be the origin of human imagination itself. Neuroscientist Terence Deacon argued that symbolic thought, the ability to represent things that are not present, required a specific kind of cognitive environment to develop. A safe one, a still one, a warm one. Firelight created exactly that environment every single night for hundreds of thousands of years. Around the fire, your ancestors did not just tell stories, they sang. The earliest evidence of musical instruments dates back at least 40,000 years, and many researchers believe vocal music is far older, perhaps as old as language itself. They danced. They performed rituals that connected the living to the dead, the present to the past, the individual to the group. They laughed. Ethnographic studies of hunter-gatherer communities consistently find that laughter rates are significantly higher at night than during the day. The firelight circle was not just a warm place to wait for dawn, it was the original social institution. And something else was happening. Sleep researcher Jerome Siegel found that nobody went to sleep when the sun went down. Your body does not naturally collapse into sleep at sunset. Ancestors stayed awake for several hours after dark. They socialized, they laughed. These hours were some of the most important hours of the human day. Siegel's research suggested that the modern epidemic of insomnia and sleep anxiety, the lying awake at 11 p.m. convinced something is wrong with you, may be partly a mismatch between expectation and biology. Your ancestors never expected to fall asleep at dark. The hours between sunset and sleep were not wasted time. They were some of the most important hours of the human day. But here's where it gets stranger still. When people did sleep, they slept in segments. Historian Roger Ekirch found consistent references to first sleep and second sleep. People would wake naturally in the middle of the night, think, pray, reflect, and then fall back to sleep until dawn. Many researchers believed this was a natural period of meditation, where the boundary between waking and sleeping was a gradual threshold. Think about what you have lost without knowing you lost it. You have lost a nightly space where the pressure of the day released completely. The ancient night was not an absence, it was a presence. That's why the hour before midnight, in warmth and low light, still feels different from the rest of the day. Your body knows this time. That's why the blue light of a screen held 6 inches from your face feels like a targeted betrayal. Your entire sleep architecture was calibrated over hundreds of thousands of years for a very specific kind of light. Warm, orange, flickering. The light of a fire. The light that said, the hunt is over. You are safe. The people around you are here. Now is the time to become fully human. What you do instead is hold a small glowing rectangle that tells your ancient brain it's noon, and then you wonder why sleep doesn't come. Polly Wiessner wrote that firelight created the fabric of society, not metaphorically, structurally. The stories told around fires were the mechanism by which culture was transmitted across generations. The songs sung in firelight were the technology by which values were encoded in memory. The laughter in the dark was the glue that held groups together through the difficulty of days that were genuinely dangerous. You live in a world your ancestors could not have imagined, but you carry their night inside you. You carry the need for story, not information, not content, not stimulation, but narrative with characters, stakes, and meaning. You carry the need to be in the presence of other people without any task to accomplish, without any purpose beyond presence itself. Your ancestors called it sitting around the fire. You might call it something else. The slow dinner that goes on too long, the conversation that starts at 10 and somehow it's 1 in the morning, the camping trip where no one looks at their phone. Those moments feel different because they are different. They're not escapes from your real life. They're returns to it. Tonight, when the sun goes down, you will have a choice. You can give those hours to the rectangle, or you can give them back to the part of you that is still sitting somewhere deep and old in the warmth of a fire, waiting for the story to begin.